In all these previous episodes, mainly in the episode 7, 8, and 9, we have proven through the Gita verses that the incorporeal Shiva is the god of the Gita. And now in the current episode number 10, we present those Gita verses that prove why Shiva is addressed as Bhagavan. The analysis of the word Bhagavan would in turn prove that the incorporeal Bhagavan creates a Bhagavan in his own image. We will also answer the question, why does Bhagavan need to create a Bhagavan in his own image? We shall also see those wonderful, meaningful words that have been used in the praise of the created Bhagavan. Incorporeal Bhagavan makes a corporeal in his image, a Bhagavan. In accordance with this Gita verse, the Swa, the self, or the mind and intellect, called Atma, the soul in English, is eternal, imperishable, devoid of visible proofs, thus is called the being as proven in episode number 3 of this series 1. In the Gita, Bhagavan is an eternal soul, just like us souls. But he, the supreme intellect, is ever unborn, formless, incorporeal, having no death. And we, the rest of the souls who degenerate intellectually, are all corporeal, having bodily form, who go through the unavoidable cycle of bodily birth and death. And we also know that all world scriptures mention Bhagavan, the Supreme, to be incorporeal. In Sanskrit, the word incorporeal, called Nirakara, and the word corporeal, called Sakara. The base word in English from Latin corpus and the Sanskrit akara, both are from Sanskrit root kr. The masculine and feminine words are akara and akriti, both meaning shape or form or figure or an individual thing. Any verb prefixed with Sanskrit a indicates a limit, and kra means doing, manufacturing, making, action, deed, etc. Therefore, every soul becomes visible through its independent bodily form made of 5 elements that has an all-round limit with respect to time, size, and quality. Therefore, as per this Gita verse, the meaning of incorporeal, Nirakara, would be one who never takes an individual bodily birth, and we are corporeal, called Sakara, taking birth with an individual bodily form. Then, if Akriti involves act of making a limited bodily form, then what does the word Prakriti mean? The prefix pra implies progressive motion, excess or excellence, abundant. Thus, the Sanskrit word Prakriti would mean progressive, excessive, or excellent creation, or the making. And logically, it cannot be just in terms of the 5 elements, the nature. The eternal Supreme Soul, Bhagavan Shiva, is also called Akarta, meaning non-doer. But why is he addressed as Bhagavan? And who is the doer of establishing righteous religion in our corporeal world? That includes the 3 tasks of creation, sustenance, and destruction. And how is that doer praised in the Gita? All answers are hidden in the meaning of the word Bhagavan in accordance to the Gita verses. We introduced these color codes in series 1 in a logical fashion. We request the viewers to make note of these color codes while going through the notes mentioned on the screen that are coded with these color codes. One may find an additional green color coded words. The mystery of this green personality is elaborately revealed in series 3 with a variety of evidences from all world cultures. Now let us know the meaning of the word Bhagavan or Bhagavat, which will prove that the Bhagavan creates a Bhagavan in his likeness. We shall use an example here. Just like the word Dhanavan means one who holds and controls wealth, Thus, he is the Lord of wealth. Similarly, Bhagavan means one who holds or controls Bhaga, and thus is the Lord of Bhaga. And the Sanskrit word Bhaga refers to the primordial nature, the Adi Prakriti, because it increases and flourishes. Bhaga also means excellence, distinction. Bhaga is also the name of a Vedic god considered to be the lord of wealth, prowess, happiness. Bhaga is also a triangle representing the yoni, meaning womb. We have understood the meaning of the word Prakriti already, which definitely is not the five element matter. Instead, is the subject of the best progressive creation. Thus, the yoni also is not the literal womb. The Prakriti is called nature in English, and its etymology proves its Sanskrit root to be jana or janma, which means born or origin. As proven in episode 3 of the series 1, the self, meaning the mind and intellect, called the soul, is active only in the bodily chariot. If the soul is not in union with its bodily chariot, then neither the soul nor the body would be called active or alive. This is the reason that in these Gita verses, the ever unborn Supreme Soul, the Srimat, meaning the Supreme Intellect, comes into existence only when he establishes self in the very special Prakriti, the nature. Thus, the Supreme Soul is called Swayambhava or Swayambhu, meaning self-existed or self-manifested in the ancient Jewish scripture Tanakh as well, proven in the series 3. So if Bhagavan is the Srimad, the auspicious wisdom, then his excellent making or creation should be equally wise. Thus, in this Gita verse, Arjuna asks Bhagavan how to establish wisdom in self. Another important point is that Bhagavan has a divine birth with no death. Similarly, his creation also should be a conqueror of death. The related procedure itself is the teaching of the Gita, and Bhagavan himself enacts what he teaches, which is the gist of these Gita verses. The collective gist is as follows, and it is known that both Arjuna and Bhagavan have been addressed with several metaphorical names, and they are aptly fitted and are very contextual. In the verse 4 of chapter 8, Bhagavan addresses Arjuna as Dehabhratambara, meaning the best of the bodily beings, and says, I am the knower, the Kshetragya of this bodily field, the Kshetra, wherein I am the Adhiyagya, meaning the Lord of the sacrificial fire of wisdom. He is the leader shown as the charioteer of Arjuna's bodily chariot, called Buddhim Tusarathim in Sanskrit. The charioteer Supreme Soul is sitting in the location of soul in between the eyebrows, which is aptly called the third eye, the Surya Netra, the Shiva Netra. The incorporeal Supreme Soul Shiva, on entering the bodily chariot, perceives all the qualities of senses, yet is incorporeal. For being devoid of the three attributes of nature, Sata, Raja, Tama, thus remains detached from all the bodily senses, yet sustains everyone. The one-word term for this elaboration is Purusha in Sanskrit, and very aptly, Bhagavan is addressed as Purushottama, meaning best among Purushas. The Sanskrit word Purusha means soul that is resting peacefully, undisturbed by the senses of its bodily city, stated in Sanskrit as Puri Shete iti Purushaha. Thus, Purushottama, the Supreme Soul Shiva, is the one who, even while established in the best of the bodily chariot of Arjuna, remains detached as though he is bodiless, thus called incorporeal Nirakari. Hence, in these Gita verses, the Supreme Soul Shiva, Bhagavan, says to Arjuna to Shamana, his bodily senses, meaning calm his senses, and become Nistraigunya, Viguna, Trigunaatita, all meaning surpass the three attributes of bodily nature and become established in Swadharma, Atmavan, meaning soul conscious, the Kalatit or Gunatit Purusha in the image of Purushottama Shiva. Arjuna, under the direction of Buddhim to Sarathim, meaning son of wisdom, the Suryanetra Shiva, the charioteer of his bodily chariot, attains Kalatit stage, meaning beyond the attributes of nature, becomes the Shamakara, the Shankara, meaning establisher of peace inside his body as well as in the world. This topic is already proven through the Gita verses, mainly in episodes 7 to 9 of this series 1, and pictorial evidences from world cultures are presented in series 3. We shall now simply prove the same using a few wonderful, dutiful names of Arjuna. Arjuna, the Dehabhritamvara, is the Prakriti, the primordial nature called Bhaga, and the Lord of Jnana Yajna inside the Bhaga is the Lord of that Bhaga, the Bhagavan, Shiva. Thus, the Prakriti is the Jnana Yajna Kunda, meaning the bodily vessel with the fire of wisdom inside. This Jnana Yajna Kunda, or the vessel of sacrificial fire, in these two Gita verses is called Yoni, meaning the womb. Bhagavan says, in this Yoni I sow self, the supreme seed of wisdom, the Shrimat, and fertilize this excellent bodily egg, the Anda. Hence, the Prakriti is praised being the Shri Mata or the Brahmanda, the golden egg, as the Mahat Brahma, the excellent creation Prakriti, the Bhaga. The word Mahat refers to intellect, excellence, and Brahma means magnificent, abundantly great. Hence, the Purushottama and Prakriti, meaning the ever incorporeal Supreme Soul Shiva and the corporeal Shankar Arjuna, who attained the stage of incorporeal. Their union itself is the Jnana Yajna Kunda or the Yoni, the womb, and thus the only corporeal whose name is prefixed with Shiva is Shankara, praised as Shiva Shankara together. The Rathi, Sarathi, the chariot and charioteer. The three-eyed Shiv Shankar is the Param Brahma, the Gurur Gariyan or the Sri Guru, meaning the auspicious supreme teacher. The related Gita verses were presented in episode 7 of this series. Hence, very aptly, Shankar Arjun or the Bhaga is addressed as Bharata in these verses, because it is this bodily vessel that sacrifices self in the sacrificial fire of wisdom and engages in the task of giving light of wisdom to the entire world, thus praised as Bharata, the conqueror of Mahabharata war of knowledge. In other words, Vishwanath Shankar. He is the Parantapa, meaning one who does severe penance of burning bodily senses to ashes, called bhasma, in the sacrificial fire of wisdom. The word bhasma means the self enlightened. This Bhasma Bhut himself is called the Shamshanavasi. Shamshanavasi literally means one who resides in the cremation ground. But the Sanskrit meaning is one who remains in the stage of peaceful senses, also called detached vairagi. Arjuna's most popular name, Arjuna, means one who earns wisdom and progresses forth. He is the one who incorporates 100% of Shiva's wisdom, thus called Dhananjaya, meaning the Lord of wealth of wisdom, which is also one of the meanings of Bhaga. This Dhananjaya is the Pandit, the Buddha, meaning wisest born, under the guidance of the son of wisdom, Suryanetra, the Panda, meaning the guide, thus called Pandava. Therefore, Arjuna the corporeal is the excellent creation with stabilized intellect, the Prakriti, achieving the stage of incorporeal, thus called Purusharashabha in this Gita verse. This verse also mentions that a Purusha alone is eligible for immortality, the divinity of immortal happiness, which is one of the meanings of Bhaga. Hence, Arjuna is the leader or lord of immortals called Amarnath Shivashankar, who gives mind-born birth in wisdom, the real boon to all. And in this way, the primordial nature, the Prakriti or the Bhaga, increases and flourishes. According to these verses, Arjuna, Dhananjaya, the conqueror of wealth of wisdom, a Kalatit who achieves incorporeal stage, becomes in the image of Purushottama Bhagavan, and in that incorporeal stage, he is Anagha, meaning the sinless, who remains detached while establishing Shamana, meaning peace in the world. This Shamanakara is the destroyer Shamkara, who becomes in the image of Shiva, the only one whose name is prefixed with Shiva. Therefore, this Gita verse mentions for the protection of those who do the penance or sadhana of conquering their bodily senses, thus becoming immortal Purushas, the deities, the destruction of those who remain slaves to their bodily senses and thus perform peaceless, wicked actions is necessary. The destroyer Rudra Shankara is the Purusharashabha himself. Thus, Purusharashabha Mahadeva Amarnath is the founding father of the first and foremost eternal deity religion, aptly addressed as Tat. The meaning of the word Tat is father, for he is the senior most, born in wisdom. And another meaning of the word Tat is dearest, for he is the dearest excellent creation of Bhagavan, because he is the only one who sacrifices his bodily chariot in the service of sacrificial fire of knowledge. And in accordance to this Rigveda verse 2, Rudra is the father of the universe. The same is well supported by this verse from Sri Rudrashtakam, clearly praising the Kalatit destroyer. And even in the Vedas, the only one conferred with the title of Bhagavan is Rudra, praised Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya, whose death is not shown in any scripture. He himself is the time, for he brings end to the old time cycle, and with him begins the new time cycle. And thus, Rudra is the universal, venerable, corporeal Bhagavan in the image of incorporeal Shiva. The summary is that the corporeal Shankar is the only corporeal who becomes completely soul conscious in the image of incorporeal Shiva, and hence is the eligible prowess accomplisher of the three tasks, namely creation, sustenance, destruction in our corporeal world. Thus, his apt, dutiful name in the Gita is Kuru Pravira. He alone, through the three tasks, establishes Shamana, meaning peace in this corporeal world, and therefore is the creator of our corporeal world. He is the time who ends one time cycle, and with him begins the new time cycle. And so, in accordance to these Gita verses, the Adi Purusha, meaning the primordial soul conscious Shiva Shankar, the three-eyed Rudra, is the one pillar, the senior, the father, who establishes the one righteous religion of divinely virtuous, soul-conscious deity dynasty of heaven, called Adi Sanatana Devi Devata Dharma, the first and ancient deity religion. This Advaita Sat Dharma, meaning undivided righteous religion, is established again and again at the end of every 5,000 year world cycle time at the dawn, the Amrit Vela, meaning the immortal time of the world cycle. The three-eyed Rudra himself is called Adam in other world religions. The fundamental need of proving the identity of the one religion and the one true God is accomplished through the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. The following episodes 11 to 18 in this series 1 present universal God proven through other major scriptural references such as Quran, Bible, Guru Granth Sahib, the four Vedas and the Manusmriti. The heaven and hell metaphorized with day and night are the equal duration halves with a cycle of just 5,000 years in total. For all evidences, please see series 2. And the Shiv Shankar or the three-eyed Rudra is the Bhagavan. He himself is the tree of life called Kalpavriksha. Recognizing and remembering him is the real Raja Yoga. For several simple but powerful proofs in the form of authentic ancient images, carvings in ancient temples, etc., supported by the verses from Vedas, ancient Abrahamic scripture, the Jewish Tanakh, and world religions are presented in Series 3. These evidences will make it clear that the Christian Bible and the Islamic Quran have been altered that are said to have descended from the ancient Abrahamic Jewish Tanakh. We request the viewers to watch the 3 series and the episodes within the series in the numbered sequence. We have used questioning technique where each and every point is questioned, answered in the most practical manner, supported by religious scriptural references and other authentic evidences, and thus are arranged in logically meaningful flow.